Right. I did the last actual modification to tow my Subaru behind the bus. It involves the Ready Brute mechanical surge brake. I think you can see up there, that bracket around the brake pedal. It holds two cables. Actually, getting that bracket and those cables there was the hardest part. Drilling through the firewall wasn't too bad. Routing wasn't too bad. Installing stuff on the outside, the front wasn't too bad. That being contorted under this dash was really big. But those two cables run under the engine out to the front, and I have one right here. Every time you push the brake on the coach, the surge will pull on this, which pulls my brake pedal in the car. And then the other cable I've got just clipped here out of the way is an emergency brake cable, and it only gets pulled in the unlikely and horrible event that this ever breaks free of the tow bar safety chain assembly. And I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's up under there. That red box is basically a little one-way clutch. So it lets the cable come through this way, but not back. There's a nylon bolt to keep it from being too easy to pull, so people don't mess with it and lock your brakes. But I've actually left some looped up slack zip tied together. So this actually would have to get pulled quite a ways, a foot and a half or so before it engaged the brakes. But that's plenty. That's not going to be a huge deal. I have not adjusted the pieces that connect to that yet. The little cables that go in between with the turnbuckles, but I had a little bit of trouble. I don't know if that shows up on camera, getting around the solid piece of steel in there that's all corrugated for the crash bar. I thought I could snake just over it, and so I put a hole there, hit it, and it drove my drill bit up, widening that guy out, and it turns out I had to put it down through this lower part. But it all works as it should. So other than adjusting the intermediary cables, which I'll do today or tomorrow, it should be all good to go. Today's project for the Subaru is to fix a cylinder number 3 misfire. And according to the interwebs, most likely cause is a coil, possibly a spark plug. And so I'm going to try to get down in here. Number 3, I believe, is this one on the back, although I'm going to change all the coils and plugs while I'm at it. And I'll just mark the other 3 as my backups, keep those and get rid of the one from the cylinder that's misfiring. It's not supposed to be too hard once you get the airbox out of the way on this side. And supposedly this air pump and the hose it attaches to is really all you got to take out on this side, although I'll probably just go ahead and take the battery out for ease. But yeah, not a ton of room, but hopefully just enough. Oh, you can kind of see down there at the bottom the excess loop of that brake cable, the emergency brake one, just peeking out there. It's just zip tied to itself in a loop so it can be pulled, but it's out of the way. I did that mostly just so I would make sure that nobody ever pulled this one and locked my brakes, and then I couldn't figure out what was going on. That's why that red box under this corner needs to be accessible so you can push the quick release and unstick it should it ever be deployed. So that's today's job. So I got the cylinder 3 that's misfiring out. I don't know if you can see that. It smelled strongly of gas, and it does not appear to have been fully combusting. It's got a weird little growth on the electrode towards the igniter part of the electrode. The grounding side has a growth on it. Doesn't want to focus, but I think there's definitely been some lack of good combustion out of this guy. It, I haven't checked it with an ohm meter or anything, but since I've got 4 new ones, I'm just replacing it. Got it and a new plug-in. That was some Champion Iridiums. So, should do the trick. But, I got that one in. The back two are the hardest, apparently. The other side will be slightly harder. I started with the easy one, because that's actually, well, the easier one. That's the one that was bad. You can see the new shiny bolt down there. Gotta swap out this guy and go to the other side. So, I went ahead and installed a trans temp gauge back here in the engine compartment. This is temporary. I would like to put a much nicer one in the dash, but for 20 bucks to go ahead and just have measurement, it was a good idea. When I stop after, running it for a while, I can keep an eye on the temps and see what they look like. And I've already got the location for the sender. This A-in fitting I found for like 19 bucks. I was really surprised when I looked at the JIC ones. They of course wanted like $100 or more for a sensor fitting for this dash 12, I think is what it is. But yeah, I mean, it's aluminum, but it, so is the cooler, and yeah, it does just fine. So yeah, it's got just a real cheapo gauge with a sender. It's powered off the power for the fans and the relay, so it's only on when the engine is on, and seems to work just fine. No leaks on any of my hoses. I didn't get it all that warm, just over 100, just idling it in drive. I'm not going to take it for a test drive today, but soon enough I'm going to take it for a shakedown run for the season, because we are headed in early April to Charlestown, Indiana, to watch the last total solar eclipse that'll be visible from the States for the next like 80 years. So we're going to go spend a few days there for my son's birthday with some friends of his and see the solar eclipse. So I've got to make sure I'm ready to roll. It's about 360 miles from where I'm at in Western North Carolina. And yeah, should be a fun trip. And the cooler will be functioning properly, so we'll get to test it out. Not too many mountains to climb. Headed over towards Knoxville. There's a few up and downs, and then it's just kind of rolly hills or flat all the way to southern Indiana. So anyway, that's all I'm doing today. Quick